story this evening on France 24. It's been our top story all weekend as well. Censorship in the Chinese media of those protests in Hong Kong. That's the angle you've chosen this evening.
That's right, and indeed on television news, etc. in mainland China, there's no mention of this at all, or hardly any mention of what's going on in Hong Kong. Excuse me, in Hong Kong. You're seeing the same thing on social media services, including Weibo, which is, I suppose, the main online. It's sort of the equivalent of Twitter in some respects. And Weixin or WeChat, basically, it's completely silent on these protests. Twitter and Facebook have been blocked for years in China, but Instagram hasn't. Instagram is now also being targeted by the authorities. So just to give you a sense of what we're seeing online, this is the main platform, what you see when you log on to Weibo. And indeed, I believe it was selfies with the Chinese flag was one of the top trending topics today. Of course, it's coming up to the 65th anniversary of the foundation of the People's Republic of China, the 65th National Day this Wednesday. So a big effort, I suppose, by the authorities to push patriotic displays of flag waving, etc. But if you type in Occupy Central, where a lot of these protests in Hong Kong have been taking place, you will basically you'll be met with a frustrating message which says your results cannot be displayed in accordance with relevant laws and regulations. Similarly for Hong Kong, if you type in Hong Kong, you're going to get basically no mention at all of those protests. So some of the French media as well have been looking at how here you can see this is a headline in Courrier International: Hong Kong, hashtag Hong Kong banned on Chinese social media. And you can see if you scroll down the censorship on China's social media, these sort of statistics, and you can see in September 2014, and that is a graphic ending yesterday, a massive peak in online censorship. So this is I suppose, unprecedented protests and an unprecedented degree of censorship online as well. So the tensions are very real. Interesting also to look at how the so-called umbrella revolution, those umbrellas of course being used to fend off tear gas, how people are getting around it. Now, people are managing with the usual means of servers, etc., of getting around those firewalls. But another more innovative means is an application called FireChat. Now, FireChat is something you can download. It functions via Bluetooth. You can see here what the platform looks like on a smartphone. And it allows you to, without going through a central internet or network of that nature, to send within 70 meters distance, you can send on information from one smartphone user to another with this application. So it means that it completely gets around centralized censorship, as we're seeing on social media platforms such as Weibo. So this screen grab here on online is by one of the leaders of the protests in Hong Kong. He's a 17-year-old student by the name of Joshua Wong, and in that text there he is actually encouraging people to download FireChat in a bid to spread news of what's happening in Hong Kong as far as possible on the Chinese web.
Well, if they can only spread it 70 meters, it's not going to get. It's going to take a while, isn't it, for that messenger to get out?
Indeed.
But it circumvents the network, doesn't it? So
exactly.
It's a direct form of communication.
Indeed.
Let's move on to a story that's buzzing in the French media. The French Prime Minister rejecting comparisons that have been made between him and Nicolas Sarkozy.
All right. Now, these comparisons happen an awful lot, Tom. He's compared in his style and even in terms of policies to the former president. They both have a sort of quite an authoritarian style. They even perhaps look somewhat alike. And you could say that Manuel Valls is very much to the right of the Socialist Party, and Nicolas Sarkozy is now moving increasingly towards the centre of the political right. So they kind of resemble each other. In any case, there was an amusing incident that the French media has been making lots of references to. He was in the town of Arras, and a woman stopped him and said, "I love you, Manuel Valls. I think of Sarkozy when I see you." This all in front of TV cameras, rather unfortunately for Manuel Valls, who I think would rather avoid these comparisons as French Prime Minister. When I see you, I am reminded of the former president, and I think you both look alike, and I love you both. So he quickly said in front of the cameras that he didn't think that Nicolas Sarkozy was handsome. And I should add that this woman said, "You're both very handsome." So he actually indirectly, in order to fend off these comparisons, made a criticism of the former president's appearance, Tom.
It's very unkind. Not a nice thing to do at all.
Right.
Now, a lady who's been the subject of a lot of your MediaWatch discussion is the former First Lady of France, Valérie Trierweiler. She's been buying some groceries at the weekend, as one does, but she's not any ordinary person, is she? She's a high-profile individual.
That's right, and this would be her first public appearance since the tell-all book that she wrote, and you can see a graphic here showing that it continues to have huge sales. In any case, she was at Barbès Rochechouart in the north of Paris in the 18th arrondissement for a weekend market, and in any case, she became massively... the police had to actually evacuate her. There was such a massive amount of people who gathered around her. A huge amount of people wanted to take selfies with the former First Lady. And you can see here, one of them even posted that selfie onto her Facebook, onto her Twitter account. And she even referred to it on Twitter herself, saying that she got such a warm welcome and that she was buying plantain bananas for cooking.
Sounds delicious. Well, we should go round to her house for dinner sometime. Perhaps we'll get an invitation.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much indeed, James Creedon. That was MediaWatch. It is time now for us to turn our eye to Egypt, which is the subject of today's focus. A number of young people there